Welcome to Book Time with Ryan. I am Ryan, and today I'll be talking about what money can't buy, the moral limits of markets, by Michael J. Sandel. I don't know how to say names. I'm figuring out the more that I do BookTube, the less I understand how to pronounce people's names. So I'm sorry. I've had this book for a while. My book is signed. I got this. There it is. See, that's the signature. I like the book. I started this before I got Careless People. So I had started, I was probably like 20, 30, 40 pages into it. And then I put it down to read Careless People really quickly and came back to this. And it's kind of like a nice, thought-provoking book. It's not explosive. It's not super exciting. It's nice to kind of relax and think about what money can't buy. And really what we're talking about here is, or what Michael Sandel, how do I say it? What he's talking about is just that there's this idea that markets can allocate resources and determine needs and wants, that you can kind of look through the lens of an economist at a lot of different non-economic things. You kind of see this with behavioral economics now, but there's this kind of idea that markets can be used to explain a lot of other things. The ways that we allocate our resources, our limited resources, to specific ventures, something like that. But there's also this other thing that happens, and it's our moral life and things that feel right and aren't right, and things that we do for certain reasons that don't necessarily make sense if you're looking at it through a market lens. And an example of this would be presents. And presents kind of run opposite what you would expect from markets. Ideally through the market lens, the best present you can give somebody is money. And they get the money and they decide what they're going to do with it. And they know what they want, and they'll allocate that money the best way they know how to get the thing that they want with that kind of money. A step back from that would be like a gift card. The example that Michael gives is a gift card to Home Depot. So maybe a gift card to Home Depot is better than getting a hedge trimmer, because you can decide, I want to get this kind of lamp, or I want to get a bidet. You should get a bidet at Home Depot or Lowe's. But it's still not as good as cash, because what if you don't really want something from Home Depot? What if you can find something there that you'd like to buy, but there's something else you'd want more? But when you think about your actual life and how it feels, let's say somebody gives you cash that really knows you, and there's something about when they get you a gift that's really thought out that you appreciate more. For me, I feel like I have enough money of my own that I generally, if there's something I really want, then I can get it. But the fun thing about gifts are that it's a surprise. And even if it's something that I wouldn't have bought for myself or even thought of for myself, the surprise aspect of it is fun for me. And I think I a lot of times prefer presents to cash. But also I enjoyed having the cash or the gift cards to do other things. So that's one of the examples that is given. Is just there are. Well, another one that I've probably talked about in the past was daycares. There was a study. People were showing up late to pick up their kids from daycare. And this daycare had to have staff stay after until the last parent came to pick up their kid. And they decided to impose a fee, like a penalty. If you picked up your kid late, you had to pay for it. This actually was the case at Noelia's daycare. She went to daycare. And you would expect, because there's this financial penalty, that people would stop doing it. But what actually happened was more people did it, because people viewed that fee, that penalty, as a way to just pay for extra care. They didn't. The stigma of inconveniencing the staff by showing up late was undone by the fact that you could pay them off, basically. And that fee was more seen less as a penalty and more of just an extra, adding time onto the meter, basically. So then they thought, okay, well, what if we take it away? So they took away the penalty, and people didn't change their behaviors, because that market system crept in on the moral obligations they felt to pick up their kid at the right time. So there's a lot of examples like that in here, and it's a lot of back and forth between this is what a market experience would have you believe, and this is the moral input. And a lot of those discussions are between either it being a corrupting influence, that it's wrong no matter what, or the other side or not the other side, but fairness test, that was somebody tricked into or put in a position where they weren't free to make the decision. That might be like, hey, you can sell your blood, and a lot of the people that sell blood to blood banks are poor and need the money. But that means that some people who would give blood out of the goodness of their heart feel like it's a financial transaction, and they don't do it because it doesn't appeal to their civic need to help out the community. So that's what it is. That's kind of the back and forth of this, and I think it's a fun discussion. It's good to think about. I think there are valid points to having some market roles in our lives, but there are definitely instances where morals should win out and definitely should be considered when you're making decisions. So I give it 4 stars. For me, that's great for a business economics finance book. And I think if you want something, it's a pretty quick book. It's like about a little over 200 pages. A little over 200 pages. It's a good book because it's quick, but it makes you think, and that's fun. It's fun to think. I recommend it sometimes. So not when you're trying to sleep. Not when you're trying to sleep. Don't try to think. Just go to sleep. But if you're not sleeping and you want to think, what money can't buy? The moral limits of markets. You know what money can't buy? My reviews. Nope. My reviews are purely moral. Or something. Oh, I'm going to try something too. My wife thinks that my videos don't get views because I use copyrighted music, which I don't get anything for. Like if I was ever monetized, which I'm not going to do, the money would flow to those bands or artists. I'm going to use free music and see if somehow this video is seen more because of that. Yeah, I don't know if that doesn't really apply to the moral limits of markets, but I don't know. All right, have a good one.